Well, I should tell you a little bit about myself, then we'll move on. I am 60 years old. I'm married. I got 2 kids. I grew up in Chicago. I now live in Nashville, Tennessee. My favorite philosopher, Woody Allen, said that comedy was tragedy plus time. What that means to me is if you have time to heal from the wounds in your life, you should find humor in the wounds. I used to think I suffered from ADHD. Then there came a point where I realized I don't suffer from it at all. It's the people around me that seem to have a problem with it. I am perfectly fine the way God designed me. I'm also a functioning hypochondriac. This is how God looks out for his children. It's my ADHD that keeps my hypochondria manageable. On those days I'm convinced I need an ambulance. By the time I get to the phone to actually call one, I've been distracted 4 or 5 times. So I usually wind up in the kitchen. I got the telephone. I can't remember why I got the telephone, and that's when I order the pizza. My kids love me. Dad's dying again. Really? Pepperoni pops. And Tammy, my wife, she makes fun of me. We'll be watching Discovery Channel on some strange new disease. Not 4 minutes into it, she leans over. You got it yet? Thinking about it. What's a nodule? They keep talking about nodules. I don't even know what a nodule is. I'm feeling nodule-y. I need a phone. Kids are yelling, breadsticks, shut up, you punks, I could be dead. And my wife and I are now at the age, and people are over, you know what I'm talking about. We're at the age where we take money that we used to set aside for fun vacations, and we get physicals with that money. Yeah. Last January, I was 30 pounds heavier last January. I took a physical. My doctor told me that if I was part of a wildebeest herd, the lions would be circling me. He said, you gotta move, man. You gotta do something aerobically. My wife buys me a Fitbit to show me how little I move. These people keep track of my every movement. Apparently, I wasn't giving up enough of my privacy to Apple, Google, and the government. What could go wrong with an American corporation monitoring my sleep habits, for gosh sakes? They tell me how many times I would get up in the middle of the night. You were up 6 times last night, Jeff, a little restless? Hey, Brad and Angelina are splitting up. Who can sleep? I'm watching Golf Channel a few months ago, laying on the couch, 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, they send me a text message. Are you dead? You've taken 78 steps in 4 hours. Apparently 4 trips through the commode in my house, 78 steps. Why else would you get off the couch? And like everything else, you could game it. I found out if you just do this, you rack up steps. You don't have to do anything but sit in your chair. So a month ago, I'm in a hotel room eating potato chips, and my wife calls me. What are you doing? Oh, I'm running a 5K, babe. I'll call you back. You know. What's that crunching sound? It's my bones. I'm old. Leave me alone. Stop asking questions and making me lie to you. Just hang up. So the doctor says you got to move. So my wife's idea was to take up skiing. That's what she says to me. We'll take up skiing. That'll be fun. I'm not taking up the sport at 60 that killed Sonny Bono, for gosh sakes. I told her, you want to ski, we'll buy a Nordic track. We'll just do it right in the living room. Turn the air conditioning up real high, get it nice and frosty. And every 4 or 5 minutes, she can run in, smack me in the face with a tree limb. I tried skiing when I was young and coordinated in my 20s, and I got knocked unconscious by the chairlift. What more sign from God do you need? And the insurance company, they didn't cover my head injury. The guy called me up at home, said, you got hit in the head with a chairlift. I said, yes, sir. He goes, that makes you a moron. We consider that a pre-existing condition. It's like, wow. They had me, another loophole. So I turned 60 in June, 60 years old. My wife's gift to me was 12 hours with a personal trainer, Todd. Hi, Jeff, I'm 2% body fat Todd. Well, hey, 2%, I'm 80% flabby Jeff. First question he asked me, how long has it been since you had an exercise program? Well, let me ponder that one, Tado. I'm 60, that would be 60 years, 9 months since I had a... I told him I haven't moved much since I won the race at conception. Don't want to brag, but I outran billions that day. So, still exhausted. He says to me, you might want to start out a little slow. That's what he says. You might want to start, you think? So since June, I've been sleeping with ankle weights on, because, well, you know. You never know. You might roll over and burn a calorie or two. I mean, we'd all exercise. Everybody in this building would exercise if the weight we gained was in a more uncomfortable place on our bodies. Where do we gain weight? Our stomachs and our behinds. It's not even in our way. A couple pounds on your forehead, that would get you to a gym, wouldn't it? Man, I can't see nothing. They're gonna take my driver's license away. Well, you guys sound ready and warmed up. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? All right. I've been waiting for this guy. I got to tell you, he's got the best hair in the entire comedy business. Please help me welcome to the stage Landry, folks. Landry.
Oh, what's going on? How you guys doing, man? I'm down here from Canada. Thank you, 7 people. I appreciate that. The rest of you, that was a very American response. Ah, you're from Canada? Yeah, we don't care. We just want to know when you're going home. I was in Oklahoma last week, and that place will be nice when they finish it. I saw a Blockbuster video, man. I had to make sure I wasn't driving a DeLorean. Do you realize how out of touch you got to be to own a video rental store this side of the Mayan calendar? That place is going out of business as soon as Tulsa gets the internet. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'd do a show for 800 kids under the age of 12. That's like performing at Chuck E. Cheese, all right? I'll tell you this, man. You've never been heckled before until you've been heckled by a 9-year-old. I've been heckled by many an adult. Boo, you suck, get off stage. Kids, way meaner, because they're just being honest. And they don't even yell out the heckles. They just hold their hand up and wait for you to call on them. You're like, hey, little guy, how's it going? Yeah, you got a lot of pimples on your cheek. Kind of looks like the Big Dipper. That's probably why you're not married. Oh, gosh, oh, he just said I was single because I had a constellation on my face. That's both clever and cruel at the same time. How you doing, young lady? Yeah, your head is too big for your body. It looks funny. You should really work out on your legs. Oh, my gosh. I shouldn't have bought these skinny jeans. Should have spent that money on a hat. Then the first kid was like, that's also probably why you're not married. Oh, gosh. I'm getting bullied by people that don't even have their license. My favorite one was after the show. This kid came up to me. He's like, oh, you remind me of that celebrity. And I was like, who? Saeed from the TV show Lost? And he said, no, Animal from the Muppets. It's like, touche, kid, touche. And then his aunt came to pick him up. She's like, who's this? He's like, oh, this is the comedian. And she was like, you don't look like a comedian. I was like, that's cool. I was like, what do you do for a living? She said, I'm a florist. And I was like, you don't smell like a florist. It's probably why you're not married. Do I look like a comedian now? Ah! And that's how you get punched. I had the luxury of flying to North Carolina for this trip on Spirit Air. Has anybody else ever accidentally traveled on this piece of junk I like? I would have had a better experience on the back of a Pelican, all right? Spirit Air is the dollar store of the skies. As soon as you step in, you realize you have made a horrible life choice. Here's the thing, this is how to get you. If you sign up for the rewards program, they will give you a ticket for $9. But you get what you pay for. Like $9 worth of customer service because they only hire people who hate people. The self-check-in was broken, so I had to go to the counter to get my ticket, which apparently was a huge inconvenience for inmate 1576. Just trying to check in, Karen. By the way, love the throat tattoo. Don't know who Ricky is, but he's a very lucky man. She's like, you checking any bags? I'm like, no, I just have this carry-on. She said, that'll be $45. It's like, I'm not gonna pay $45 for a bag I have to lug around. I just started taking out clothes, putting on everything at the same time. Never breaking eye contact till I was walking around like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Well, Spirit Air looks at me like I just saved myself $45. Hashtag loophole. I get on the plane, this thing is falling apart. Captain comes on the PA, he's like, ladies and gentlemen, we're not gonna have any air conditioning because the plane's auxiliary power supply is malfunctioning. Oh, that's comforting. I'm on an aircraft with a dead battery. Thankfully, it was a stick shift so they could roll us downhill and pop the clutch to get it started. You don't get anything for free either. There's no complimentary snacks or beverages on Spirit. You gotta pay for everything, man. You want a can of Coke? It's $3. $3 for a can of Coke. That is 1/3 the ticket price. And that's how they get you, to sell you a cheap ticket and then they gouge you for everything else afterwards when it's too late to say no. I thought when they were doing a safety demonstration, be like, in case cabin pressure is lost, oxygen mask will fall from the ceiling. Put on the mask and pull on the cord. It might seem like oxygen isn't flowing because it's not. Swipe your credit card to start the flow of oxygen. If you're a company of minors, swipe your credit card before you swipe their credit card. Top it off, the dude next to me thought I was a terrorist, man. You believe that? I guess that's what I look like when I'm uncomfortable, sweaty, and angry. This just screams Taliban right here. Just my jihad eyebrows. And it's funny to me because I'm from Canada. And I'm not saying there's not Canadian terrorists. But there's not, all right? Real tough getting your demands met with hockey sticks and maple syrup. The worst thing we do is write you a strongly worded letter with good grammar, eh? You guys have been a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much.
Hey. All right. Let's keep this comedy train going. And help me welcome from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Jamie Bendall, folks. Jamie Bendall.
So, my name is Jamie Bendall, and you should know that I am married. I also have 3 children, daughters, all girls. And my wife and I are in the phase of our relationship where we are running out of things that existed from when we were single. And one of those things is my dog. We have a senior dog in our household. And I have learned that my wife hates suffering. She just cannot stand it. Anytime I gets up and he's a little bit gimpy or he's a little bit disoriented, she's always confronting me and saying, why won't you accept what's going on with this dog? And I'm so grateful that I'm having this experience with her now because it's giving me really explicit instructions for how I need to behave when I myself become a senior. Because God forbid someday in the future I get up complaining about my back. She'll be sitting right next to me at the end of the bed saying, listen, you have had a good run. We actually got a notice from our vet that we could get certified in dog CPR. I did not know that one could get certified in dog CPR, but you can. It says study your dog's behavior patterns to know when he or she might be having a heart attack. Now, my guy pretty much lays around and sleeps all day. It might be 3 or 4 afternoons before I noticed anything was wrong. And then it says you have to give them mouth-to-mouth or mouth-to-snout resuscitation. And unfortunately for my dog, this is where I will have to draw the line. Because he has this uncanny ability to put certain parts of his anatomy in direct contact with other parts of his anatomy that wholly preclude my willingness to put my mouth on his snout. So in the unlikely event that he comes into our den clutching his left paw, I will be out in the backyard digging a hole. Now, Kelly and I decided, for the girls' sake, that we wanted to have a bridge dog. We didn't want to be in a dogless household, so we decided to get a second dog. And we decided to go the shelter or rescue dog route, or as I like to say, used. I wanted a Rhodesian Ridgeback. She wanted a chocolate lab. So off I went onto Pet Finder to discover the perfect dog for our family. And don't you know, I was lucky enough, after looking at hundreds of dog profiles, a Rhodesian Ridgeback chocolate lab mix. And it was at the Rome Floyd County Humane Society. Now, if you are unfamiliar where the Rome Floyd County Humane Society is located. It exists directly in the shadow of the last A in Alabama. So we pack up the kids, we drive all the way out to the Rome Floyd County Humane Society, and what we discover is that in that part of Floyd County, a Rhodesian Ridgeback chocolate lab mix is a euphemism for pit bull. This block-headed son of a gun, right? And of course, the kids were with us, so we have the dog now. The dog lives with us, and every person who meets this dog says, that's a remarkable-looking animal. What kind of dog is that? And I proudly say, why, it's a Rhodesian Ridgeback chocolate lab mix. And they all say, anybody say maybe it's a pit bull? Now, making my home in Georgia, I am very familiar with the inclement weather and the ice and the snow. And they always say, when it's icy and snowy out, stay off the roads, because only the stupid are out driving in these conditions. And that always bugs me, because my state is 47th in SAT scores. There are stupid people on the road all the time. Middle of the night, actually, it was more of a nightlight fire. My 3 girls all sleep in the same bedroom, kind of like puppies. Not because they have to, but because they like to. My youngest wants this new nightlight. We go out to the store, we get it, we put it in the wall. Like 2 nights later, my oldest wakes up. She thinks the room smells funny. So there's a funny noise coming from the nightlight. She gets up to investigate, and right as she gets up to the nightlight, it bursts into flames. So she does exactly what we rehearsed. She yells, fire, fire, to wake up her siblings, and then she does this little belly crawl to wake up Kelly and I past this flaming nightlight. I wake up, I smell smoke, my kids are screaming down the hall, I panic. I don't know, do I put on pants first? Do I call 911? Do I investigate the fire? I freeze. Thankfully, my kid, the awesome kid that she is, she keeps her wits about her and blows the fire out. So keep in mind, there's smoke everywhere. We're coughing, we're crying. So out of an abundance of caution, we ring up the Alpharetta Fire Department and said, hey, we've had a little fire. Would you mind coming over and checking it out? They said, not a problem. We're in the fire business. I go out at 2:30 to await the arrival of these firemen, middle of the night, and off in the distance, I hear some sirens coming. I think, thank goodness, they're on their way. And then I hear in another direction, more sirens. And then I hear in a third direction, additional sirens. And I thought, this is a busy time for fires. And then I realized they're all coming for me. And I had what I can only characterize as a very brief moment of 911 remorse, where I thought, maybe I didn't need to call. The next thing I know, I've got 4 fire trucks from 3 different cities, completely loaded with firemen at the end of my driveway, ready to fight a fire. They've got helmets and masks and air tanks and infrared sensors and ladders and axes and a buddy system, and they come tromping up the stairs past our Justin Bieber posters to check out the fire scene. Now, I don't know if at the Fire Academy they teach a class, and the name of that class is How to Emasculate the Homeowner. But if they did, these guys would have gotten straight A's. They did everything but tuck me back into bed. And then they were so bold when they were leaving. They're like, now, sir, if this should flare back up, we'd be more than happy to come back out and assist you. And I said, oh, no. This house could become fully engulfed in flames before I'm making a second call during your shift. Thank you so much.
Hey. Jamie Bendall, folks, Jamie Bendall. We'll keep your applause going for one of my dearest friends in comedy, Mr. Rik Roberts from Nashville, Tennessee. Rik Roberts, folks. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, how's it going out there? Everybody doing all right? Man, it's good to be here. I'm feeling extra excited this week, so I just want to share it with you. Before I left town, I sent in my final house payment. Just wanted to share that with some people and get that out. Thank you. I mean, it's not paid off, but that's the final payment I'm sending in. It was adjustable, and I adjusted it down to one more payment. And I have financial peace. That's what I've got right now. Freedom. I tell you, I can't even afford to buy these glasses. I got these glasses last week, man. Remember when you had to get glasses when you couldn't put it off no more? I was about 30 minutes into a ZZ Top documentary on the TV, and it turned out to be Duck Dynasty. Like, even Frank has let himself go. Man. It's all part of getting older, right? Yeah, I'm a little bit of an old guy. Got the cholesterol going on now. Went into the doctor. He said, your cholesterol number is 425. I know, that's the highest in my county, so I get to go to regionals in a couple weekends. I got to beat out a gravy sucker from Memphis, so we'll see. He's been taking butter home to get his numbers up. Juicing, you know? Yeah. My doctor didn't laugh at all, y'all. He's like, you need to immediately change your diet and your exercise patterns. And I was in trouble right there because I wasn't running either pattern at the time. I said, what do you recommend first? He said, change your diet and come back in 2 weeks. Didn't say what diet, so I Googled diets, found the Atkins diet, and you can eat meat all day long on that diet. You eat meat, you're supposed to smoke a cigarette, and then take a nap. Yeah. It was a Chet Atkins diet that I got on. Yeah, so diet didn't work. And then he said, maybe some exercise. I said, what do you recommend? He said, why don't you get out there and ride a bike 3 or 4 times a week for about an hour at a time? I said, well, I'll tell you why not. I'm 48 years old. Let's just be honest. You see a man my age on a bicycle, you don't think he's exercising. You're thinking that poor guy had a repo or a DUI. Right? And if you're not laughing, you rode here on a bike. Ching-a-ling-a-ding. So I wasn't going to exercise. He said, well, you can take a pill. And I said, well, let's stop that right now. I don't care what pill commercial you see on TV. The side effects are scarier than what you got, right? Have you seen that one commercial that says, may cause an early death? I'm like, whoa. Well, I'd rather go after supper after I had my pie, not early in the morning. They got one pill, the next morning you wake up on a beach in a bathtub. What in the world? Not unless they put gravy in that bathtub, I ain't gonna be on that. So they put me on this Lipitor pill. They left out the side effect on that commercial. $8 a pill. $8, that's a triple stack and a side of fries right there I can't eat. $8. And they're tiny. One more I got to take my pill and I dropped it and I couldn't find it and I was out, $8. So now I just wrap it up in a big old piece of bacon, swallow it whole every day. Melt some cheese on there so it sticks real good. You get a toothpick in there, it's a pill and a blanket. I'll sell that back to Pfizer. It's tough being older because I got little kids, started late in life, 48 with an 11-year-old boy and a just turned 4-year-old baby girl. 2 guys feel my pain. Everybody else put me in the prayer group. There you go. Thank you very much. And if that's not enough stress, recently my wife has brought up the topic of adoption. I'm like, honey, I don't think anybody is going to take these kids off our hands at this point. Hey, y'all been a whole lot of fun. Thanks for sticking around tonight.